Welcome everyone to a groundbreaking webinar series on inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, presented by Gaining Vision 2020 in partnership with Connect for Life Charity. I'm Sean Pickard, and we are excited to bring you this transformative series of sessions that explore the interconnected themes of inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Our mission is to create a platform that celebrates the uniqueness of individuals, promotes equitable practices, and ensures accessibility for all. Join us as we delve into thought-provoking conversations, exchange insights, and learn from experts in the field, all with the aim of fostering a more inclusive, diverse, and accessible society. Welcome to I.D.E.A. Do you know what this means? We like to start each session by acknowledging the land in which we call home. Gaining Vision 2020 acknowledges the lands which constitute the present-day City of Mississauga as being part of the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot Nations. Gaining Vision 2020 recognizes these people and their ancestors as people who inhabited the land since time immemorial. The City of Mississauga is home to many global Indigenous peoples. Gaining Vision 2020 is actively working towards reconciliation by confronting our past and our present, providing space for Indigenous peoples within their territory to recognize and uphold their treaty rights, and to support Indigenous peoples. Gaining Vision 2020 formally recognizes the Anishinaabe origins of our name and continue to make Mississauga a safe space for all Indigenous peoples. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Guerdah Felix, a certified spiritual life coach and a certified spiritual self-mastery teacher. With over 10 years of experience, she has learned and continues to learn different coaching modalities. Guerdah is also a distinguished Toastmaster. She has volunteered as a host to people of different ethnicities and facilitated workshops on diversity and inclusion. Guerdah has also organized several multicultural events and led conversations on unconscious bias. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting cross-cultural communication, Guerdah Felix.
Thank you, Sean. Cross-cultural communication. Wow. We know that communication is the bedrock of relationships, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
And today we will be learning about cross-cultural communication. Intercultural communication or cross-cultural communication vary greatly around the world. The intention of this workshop is to share some tips to avoid some errors that may occur when communicating with someone from a different culture. Because what I do in my culture may vary to what you do in your culture. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I think it's going to vary just a little bit there, Guerdah.
Now, let's go over the objectives. Today we will learn what is cross-cultural or intercultural communication. What is the proper behavior when meeting someone of a different culture? How to greet them? What language to use and with whom? Because we know, for example, I speak French. This is my first language. We say vous for someone that we do not know. We say vous when we speak with the adults. We do not say tu. So if you are speaking to an adult, especially the first time, and you say tu, everybody's insulted. So that's why this is important. What language to use and with whom.
Those are very important factors there, Guerdah.
They are, indeed. What is cross-cultural communication? Well, cross-cultural communication can be defined as a dialogue or any kind of interaction, both verbal and nonverbal, between people of different nationalities. Applied to a business-oriented context, cross-cultural communication refers to how well people from different cultures interact in a business environment. So today, we will mostly do how do we interact with each other, people from different cultures, in the society in general.
So could we talk about things like hand signals at this point? Trying to get someone's attention, maybe?
Yes, we could. What would you like to know?
Oh, I'm just curious because you're in a foreign land, for example. You don't speak the language. You're trying to get someone's attention or thank them for something they've helped you with, and you give them a thumbs up. Could that be considered a negative move?
Yes, in some cultures it is. It is considered, it's considered as negative. And that's why it is important for us when we are going to meet people from different cultures, that not only we do our research, because it is, for some cultures it can be, and from some cultures not so much. So that's why it's important to do our research. That's why it is important for us to observe.
That's a big one right there. Observation.
It is. So now, let's start with the 5 basic elements of cross-cultural communication.
5? Only 5?
Well, you know, we don't want to complicate things. So 5 basic elements of cross-cultural communication.
What are they, Guerdah?
Let's start with 1. What do you think 1 would be?
Well, I'm going to go with what we were just touching base on. For example, if giving someone a thumbs up could be considered a negative move in some locales, you should be aware of it. So let's go with awareness or being aware.
I like that. I like that. So we start with awareness. Awareness. Be aware of the person you are speaking with. Notice his or her mannerisms and movements and the speed of his or her speech. Why do you think it is important?
Well, the speed, to me, is a bit, I kind of wonder about that one. Because if you're not a native speaker of that tongue, you're going to be a slower speaker. So someone will get insulted because you don't know the language that well and you're trying to present well, or
That's a good question. Oh, that's a good point. Why is the speed important? Because we don't listen, each and every one of us, we listen very differently. For example, when I listen to people, I listen not only to the words, I listen to the cadence, to your intonation. So for me, it feels when you're speaking too fast, I have to make sure that everything that I'm listening to pay attention to that. It's a lot of energy in my head.
that is a lot.
Yes, because that's the way I listen. Not everybody listens the same way. So that's why it is important to pay attention to whoever you are speaking with, to their speed, so that you can adjust yours to theirs. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does.
Okay. Let's go over preparation. Preparation. Do your homework. What does that mean?
I feel like I'm back in school now.
Okay. What does that mean?
do your homework. Know a little bit about the location, I guess would be probably the best thing I can come up with there.
Know a little bit about the other person.
Know a little bit about the people,
Yes. Yes. For example, I have read that people from Asia, we'll use Asia, they make sure that when they're speaking with someone, they even mimic the way you breathe.
They mimic the way you breathe.
Yes. So they observe you and then they mimic you breathing.
That's interesting.
Yes, it is. And you know, the way I call this, superhero level. Because then I can follow you, whatever movement you do, I am in sync with you. That's why it's important.
That is very important.
So me doing my homework, I would know that. When meeting someone from a different culture, gather information about said culture, because we do not want to insult other people without our knowledge. That's why it is important. So the first one was awareness. The second one was preparation. The third one is, it starts with H. What do you think it is?
Start with H. Oh, something I'm probably, striving for all the time. A little bit of humor.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Why? Because it makes the exchange more pleasant. It's always important to bring some humor to the conversation. And it needs to be humor that is appreciated by both people, because we want to make sure that, we don't say anything that can insult someone else. So match your speaker's humor. That way you are able to connect at a deeper level.
That's some very deep stuff right there, Guerdah.
Listen, deep is my game. And now we're going to language. Language. Be careful of how you address people from different ages. As I gave the example earlier, friends versus strangers. In my culture, I am originally from Haiti. When an adult calls you, if you were in the basement, you have to be very careful. Because let's say my mom calls me, I have to get up and go to my mom. I cannot stay in the basement and say, yes, Mom, I'm coming. we don't do this in my culture. Language, it is important because we speak a language of respect. And that varies. The word respect varies from varies from one culture to the other, correct?
Correct.
Can you give me an example? For example, in your culture, what would be considered respectful or not?
Respectful, we'll go with sir and ma'am, showing the respect to the elders.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And now openness. That's the fifth one. Be open to observe and learn so that a situation can be quickly corrected.
Oh, yes. I've found myself tap dancing on occasion. So being able to smooth it out and admit you're wrong. Or this is something I didn't know about, something to that effect, will go a long way.
Absolutely. And even if we did not say anything, you can see it in our face, you can see it in our movement, and because you're able to see it right away, you are able to correct the way that you were communicating with the other person. So let's say, to summarize, we talked about awareness, preparation, humor, language, and openness.
Those are a lot of things to keep in mind.
Yes, yes. A lot of important things to keep in mind. Now we are going to go over some tips. Tips for effective cross-cultural communication.
I need as many of these as you can get me, Guerdah.
Okay. Okay. So the first one is to maintain etiquette. I will list them first and then we'll go over to them. First one is maintain etiquette. Many cultures have specific etiquette around the way they communicate. The second one is avoid slang. The third one, speak slowly. The fourth one, keep it simple. The fifth one, practice active listening.
That's a big one.
6, take turns to talk. Write things down. Avoid closed questions.
That's a big one right there.
Do you like that?
Oh, I like that. I think there's a few more I could probably use with.
So did you see what I did there? I said avoid closed
Close
question,
questions?
and then I asked you a
Asked
closed
one.
question.
Yep.
Correct. So the first one is maintain etiquette. Etiquette is very important in cross-cultural communication because otherwise it is impossible to make friends and create powerful connections.
Very important.
Very important. I know for a fact that if you live in a country in Asia, when you enter someone's home, you have to do what? Remove your shoes.
Remove your shoes. I always thought that was before you went in, though.
Some, it's before you went in.
Okay.
Yes, some. I think in Japan, I think before you go in. But in Korea, you enter, you remove your shoes, and they have, things you can wear in the house. Yes.
Completely different,
Yes.
but that's the etiquette
Right?
for there. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the etiquette in my home, in my house too, because I don't like people coming with their shoes in my house. So it's important to know that. Correct?
Absolutely.
What is etiquette? Well, etiquette is the rules that you follow in order to maintain good connections. It's a set of rules that we all have in different cultures, because etiquette in one culture can be very different to another culture. But as we get to know the culture, we understand their etiquette for that culture. When you first meet people, do you kiss them? Do you bow? Do you shake hands? What do you do? Again, that's part of etiquette. How do you greet that person?
And that's going to be different with every person, depending upon the upbringing.
Absolutely. In my culture, when you go to someone's home, you have to say good morning or good evening. But you have to say something. You cannot go into the home and just walk in. Back in the days when we used to bring friends home and they would do that to us, to my family, my parents, my dad would say, okay, go out, all of you, and then come back in. Because this is part of etiquette in my culture. Give me an example of etiquette in your culture.
Oh, it would be the same thing. Why is everyone just walking through the door? Don't there's a doorbell, you can knock.
Absolutely.
Why is everyone just walking through?
Yes. Now, the second one we talked about, we mentioned before, avoid slang.
This I might have a problem with.
Well, tell me why.
Oh, I use a lot of slang.
Okay.
I create a lot of names for companies and things like that.
Okay.
We won't get into that because,
Okay.
not a good place.
So what is considered slang?
Creating a name for someone, an acronym, just making an identifier that is not their identity.
Absolutely. Abbreviation of words, correct? Okay, and sometimes it's only to a region or to the specific work environment. You would be the only one who knows. You and your work colleagues would know, but someone else that doesn't work here would not know. So that's why it is important to avoid slang, because how am I to understand when you are speaking something or about something that only you and your own culture knows about? So that's why we say avoid slang.
And that can also be an issue professionally.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Even people in the same industry.
Yes, yes.
So
totally agree. However, we do not assume that because the person's first language is different than yours, that they do not understand the language. Because some people believe because you speak a different language, or even because your accent sounds different, that you probably are not that good in that language. So please do not assume any of that. Speak slowly. Why do we speak slowly when we speak to someone from a different culture?
It would make it easier to understand if the language you're speaking is not their first language.
Absolutely. And also for what I said before.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
I forgot about that one.
Yes, because we do not listen the same way. And that's why it is important that we speak slowly. For example, I am a Toastmaster, and I feel a lot of times speakers speak very, very fast. And as they're speaking, my head goes from one way to the other, and I find it's too much. And that's why I usually say, please speak slowly. Because as we speak slowly, we are able to articulate our words better, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Keep it simple. Why do we have to keep it simple?
Because people don't understand. That's all it is.
Yes. Yes, because the more we try to make it elaborate, the less we lose in communication. And so that's why it's important to keep it simple. Practice active listening. Oh, that's a beautiful one. Why do you think?
Not enough people use active listening. And what I found is amazing. How much information you can gather in a conversation just by actually listening to someone. That later on, something else pops up and you're able to put two and two together. And things work out greatly for your friend, your relation, whatever the case may be. And it's all because you took the time to actually listen.
Totally agree. People give you indication all the time. And sometimes when they are saying something that can be very emotional for them, their voice changes. And if you are not able to pick that up, then you are going to continue to speak about the same thing. When in fact, as soon as that you heard the change, that would be better to change the conversation. So active listening is, I would say, at the top.
I'd say it's the most important one.
Take turns to talk. I laugh. You know why I laugh about this one? It's because in our society nowadays, it seems that there's no break from one person saying something to another person saying something, and sometimes you feel you haven't even finished your sentence and somebody else is already speaking. Take turns to talk.
Or what about when they start speaking, even though you've come to the end of a sentence, but you haven't finished the thought?
Yes, and that's why even in some countries, Asian countries, the other person will not start to speak until you have stopped to move. Not only speaking, but you have stopped to move. So if you are speaking and you're saying something and you stop, until your hands come down, they won't say anything. Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Write things down. Why is it important to write things down?
Well, for me, it's that hand-to-brain connection. If I write it down, chances are it might hang out a little bit longer.
Yes. And also, when we are writing things down, we tend not to speak as much. Because as I am listening to you saying something, I'm writing it down. Therefore, I'm giving you time to finish what you are saying. I'm giving my brain time to understand what you have said. And then if there is something, then I can go back to you and ask questions. Because when we don't write things down, it feels like we're just going at each other.
Non-stop.
Non-stop, exactly. Avoid closed questions. Now, why do you think we need to avoid closed questions?
Because they're simple answers.
Well, yes. And in that way, there is no communication.
There's no information to be
No.
gathered. You're not getting
Are
anything.
you having fun?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else comes after that? That's why.
Yep.
That's why it's important to avoid closed questions, because we want to have the conversation going between two people who are speaking. So it's important to have open-ended questions. Now, I have more tips for effective cross-cultural communications. Are you ready?
I need these.
Okay. First one, I say respect.
See, the problem I have with that one is people need to be told that.
I tend to agree. But as we know, respect means different things to different people. And that's why it is important to say it, because something for me that might be respectful and for you it might not be. Here is something that I learned not too long ago, and that I did not know. For example, in India, it is not polite to say no.
It is impolite to say no in India.
Exactly. So for example, you're proposing something to someone, the person will not say no to you. And they will offer something else.
Okay.
And actually today, this morning, that came to me. That's exactly what happened. Somebody asked me for something. I sent what the person asked me for. And then the person said, yes. Can I have a colored picture, picture, please? My picture was black and white. If it were me, I would have said, I don't necessarily like the black and white. Can you send me the colored picture? The person said yes. And I thought, that's very interesting. So in India, it seemed that people do not say no.
Interesting.
For them, it is respectful not to say no. For me, I'm thinking, I would have liked it better if you had told me no from the beginning. Again, that's the question with respect. Be courteous. What does that mean, to be courteous?
To be kind to someone. Not even overly kind, but just treat them with the common respect that an individual person deserves.
Yes. Yes. For me, courteous means that there is a warmth to our exchange, because this warmth that you give to another person, you can feel it. And for me, that's what courtesy means. And I feel this is something that we need to work on, all of us, because for some reason we're missing it. Be confident. Why do we need to be confident?
I believe that helps people take us at face value.
Absolutely. I will give you an example. In Haiti, although many times we hear in the world that in Haiti is a poor country, my pastor explained to us that he went to Haiti and he said, I needed to speak to the people who were, how should I say this? People who had money. Therefore, he needed to dress a certain way and be confident when he goes to talk to them. And he said, do you know why? I said, yes, I know why, because if not, they would not listen to you.
They would not take you seriously?
No, not at all. That's why wherever you go, whoever you're speaking with, it is important for you to be confident, because confident brings people to you.
That's actually very true.
Yes.
Very true.
So that's why it is important. Verify nonverbal cues. We've talked a little bit about this.
We have talked a little bit about
Yes.
this, but when we open this up to nonverbal cues, that's now a whole other world.
Yes, it is. It is because it is the voice, although they say nonverbal, but it's also the emotions in the voice. Okay, it is the face. It is the movement, different gestures. All of this tells you about someone. How are they feeling? Is this something that they are happy with? Or is it a conversation that they would prefer that you stop? But if you don't know that, and the person is very respectful, or in their culture, they cannot tell you straight away, well, you need to pay attention.
Very true.
You see, in my culture, it is impolite to look an adult in the eyes. When I first came to Canada, when I go to school, my teacher would say, "Look me in the eye." When I go home, my parents say, "Put your eyes down." I had to maneuver this because, of course, in Canada, you look people in the eye. In my culture, especially when an adult is talking to you, no, you make sure that this is a sign of respect. You do not look at the adult eye to eye.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. So those are also verbal, nonverbal cues, because if you do not know that, talking to someone from a different culture, you might think the person is being disrespectful, when in fact, this is because that's not what they do in their culture. That's why it's important.
That's very interesting.
Now, I am going to say something that is even deeper. Check your unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias. I think I might need a little bit of help with that one, Guerdah.
Unconscious bias.
What does that mean?
It's the judgment that you carry without knowing that you are carrying this judgment. Okay? So for example, you're speaking with someone who has a different accent. Please note that I didn't say someone who has an accent. I said someone who has a different accent, because we all have an accent, okay? So you're speaking to someone who has a different accent, and automatically you think this person is not too intelligent because of the accent of that person. That's a bias.
It is correct, yes.
Okay. Also, and this I had learned some time ago, many people believe that people who come to this country, it's because we don't have money. So a lot of people believe that immigrants do not have money, so that's why they come to the country. So because they don't have money, their biases tell them, well, if they don't have money, then they don't have education, they're not very literate. You understand where I'm going with that?
So could we consider unconscious bias like a really wide paintbrush kind of deal?
Yeah, well, it can, depending on who you're speaking with and what this person is thinking about. So yes, that's why it's important to check your bias. Because when you have whatever bias against someone, it's not about the person, it's about who yourself.
Yes.
Yes, because it has nothing to do with the person.
It's about how you were raised, what your environment was, because all of a sudden this person's outside your environment.
Bingo. Check your judgment.
That's a big one.
Yes, it's close to the bias, but it's different.
But what if you're a lawyer?
What if you are a lawyer?
You're on your way to being a judge.
Okay.
Do you check your judgment there?
That's funny. I like that one.
I couldn't pass that one up. I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Guerdah.
I like that one. But let's bring it back to the general public. How do you check your judgment?
That's an interesting question.
Basically, whatever you're thinking, you have to ask yourself, why are you thinking it?
Very important.
You know, sometimes I'm walking and I see people and I'm thinking, maybe this person shouldn't wear this. And the first question I ask myself is like, okay, why? What does it do for you? Because this person, the way they dress, it's really their business. And
Correct.
obviously, they feel very comfortable wearing what they are wearing. I am the one who is not comfortable with it. So whatever we're having a problem with, that's whatever we need to ask ourselves. Okay, what is it that it's coming up for me right now?
Very important.
And the last one.
The last one I think is going to be the hardest for everyone. I think it might be my favorite, but I think it'll be the hardest.
Yeah. Check your ego.
Very huge.
It's very huge.
My ego is, yes, I know, but this is this point as well.
Yes, yes. No, it is, because our ego, whenever it perceives a danger, I said perceive, doesn't need to be there, but whenever our ego perceives a danger, well, our ego comes to the forefront to defend us. That's the job of the ego. The ego is very good at doing what it needs to do.
Does it have to be a danger, or does it just have to be something different?
I think it needs to be something that you have previously experienced, or at least your ego views it that way. So that's why, and that's why it is important to check our ego, because from experience, and also because this is what I study, ego will have you listen or hear things that were not said and see things that are not there.
That's actually really, deeper than I thought we were going with ego.
Sorry. Oops. Yes, that's deep Guerdah, I guess.
But it's very true.
It's true.
It's very true.
It is true. It is true.
Yeah.
I will give you another example. My brother-in-law works in the police department, and he says when they dispatch, sometimes they would say something like, okay, they're saying there's something happened at so-and-so's place, at whatever address. There is a black guy. If you hear there is a black guy, for some reason everybody in their head think it's a giant person who's there. And then you go, it was only a child. So ego.
Ego.
Ego. And that's why it's important to really pay attention to our ego when we are dealing with people from different cultures. Because what we have in our mind and what it is in reality, that can cause something that we did not want to cause. And that's why it is important. That's we have a lot of work to do, right?
Well, I think we're going to need more coffee is what we're going to need.
So now I'm going to show you some cards, okay?
Okay.
Because since we're talking about cross-cultural communications, I'm going to show you some cards, and I want you to tell me what you see.
What I see, okay.
What you see, and also I want you to tell me what you think when you see what's on the card, correct?
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay.
So, first instinct is...
Let me do this so that whoever is is watching, okay, can also see it. Okay. Tell me, what do you see?
I see a dude with a tattoo.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, the tattoo is a rather graphic and colorful, it looks like a devil, but I believe it's actually supposed to be a kabuki spirit, a Japanese kabuki spirit.
Okay, so tell me what do you see in your mind, or what comes up in your mind when you see the dude with the tattoo?
That had to hurt.
Okay, very good. What else?
I guess the only other thing that comes here is this guy's not going to be growing hair anytime soon. I mean, it is a tattoo to the back of the skull. Mm-hmm. So that's his self-expression, though.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw someone at church. Actually, there was a young man at church who had tattoos all over his body, and every time I would see him on Sunday, it almost felt like my eyes could not go anywhere but looking at him. Why? Because I thought he was so beautiful, and I thought it was like an art, a walking art. And that's why for me, every time I saw him, I always looked at him. But some people can have a different judgment or idea when they see people with tattoos.
Let me join you here. See, I like tattoos. I see the people that had beautiful artwork done. But I was also a former printer. I am a former printer.
Okay.
So I come around the corner, see all this ink, and the first thought through my mind is, who made the mess? And then I realize, this looks pretty good.
Right?
Right?
And what you just said is very different than what I just said.
Exactly.
And that's why we're talking about cross-cultural communication.
Different experiences.
Exactly. And now I'm going to show you something else. I'll show it first to everybody here. And then I want you to tell me, what do you see?
I see it's a crowd shot in what looks like it could be a boardwalk or something somewhere. It's a public area with a lot of people in it.
Okay. And what about the couple?
There is a couple in the foreground. Yep. It looks like they're deep in conversation, but what is the conversation they're having?
Yes. And the fact that they're standing face to face like that, what do you think they're saying in terms of, are they having a wonderful conversation, or do you feel like they're having a conversation that is pleasant, unpleasant?
I'm going to go with slightly unpleasant here.
Tell me why.
Because they are face to face.
Okay.
There is no body contact. There is complete separation from them.
Okay.
But they are close. So trying to figure out, did you really like last night's dinner?
Okay.
Or something even deeper,
Yes.
possibly. Even, huge financial situations. There could be anything going on here.
Absolutely. I agree.
She could be looking at him saying, no, I won't marry you, and here's why. We don't know.
Exactly. And you see, and that's why interpretations, as we are in communication with people, especially from different cultures, it's important that we at least pay attention to what is going on inside of our head. Because for me, yes, looking at a couple standing the way they are standing, especially when everybody else they are holding hands, they are the only one who are not holding the hands, obviously in my mind, they are in conflict. And that creates so much inside of me because they are in conflict. Because it could be also because of my past experiences, which is also coming to the forefront. That's why it is important, especially in cross-cultural communications.
Very important.
Right?
Yes, very, very important.
Okay, I have one last card that I am going to show you. This is the card.
That's interesting. I'm going to say that is someone's ear.
Okay.
Inside someone's ear.
Yes, yes. Very good.
Wow, did I get lucky?
It is. It is. And for me, when I saw this card, what I saw right away, this person is actively listening, because this is what is at the forefront. And this person is also observing. That's what it tells me.
Okay. To me, that's the doctor observing something. That's how close that picture is.
Isn't that to my point? And that's why it is important for us to really pay attention, not only in our communication with each other, but also in our communication with people from different cultures. Because for that reason only, as we bring ourselves to wherever we are. We bring ourselves. Ourselves is with all experiences that we've had before. Even if we thought perhaps we have left those experiences behind, we're still walking with them.
That's baggage we have for the entire trip.
And that baggage, although we put all of this, we keep it bottled up, it will have an effect on how we communicate with each other.
Try to keep it to carry on. That's what I try to do.
Now, I have some examples of cross-cultural communication. We talked about the one where it is not polite to say no in India. Here's another one. A Japanese colleague who has closed their eyes when you're talking to them means that they are listening very intently.
I'm down with that one. I like that one. Because I understand you're blocking out everything else just so you can hear.
Okay.
Closing the eyes, block out what's going on, less distraction, less stimulation, focus on what's coming in.
It's very good. If I talk to someone, now that I know that about Japanese people, that's cool. If I'm talking to you and you're closing your eyes, I start panicking. Because I'm thinking, okay, he's not paying attention. Am I saying something that is insulting to him? Why is it that you understand what's going on in my mind, right?
Yeah, but I have that effect on everyone. So.
But you do get what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Okay. So, in some cultures, it is considered impolite and aggressive to hold eye contact with a person. We did talk about that one.
We did. We did talk about that briefly. To me, that's more of the animal kingdom, right?
Say more.
For example, meeting a new animal, a new dog, a new cat, things like that, eye contact can be a direct challenge.
That is, I did not know that. And yet, it could be from that, but as we know, some cultures, you can't do that.
Yes.
It's not considered polite. Natives or friends may kiss a team member on the cheek upon introduction. Did you know that?
I thought it was a European thing, not necessarily just France.
You're right. It is. It is. In my work, I met someone who was from Quebec. He came to visit, and he was the national president. He came to visit, and he saw me. They introduced us. He shook my hand and he kissed me on both cheeks, and I think I froze because I did not know what was happening. Because for me, especially when it came to, because we were in a work environment, I thought it was strange. If we were outside, it would have been okay, but because we were in a work environment, I can still remember he held my hand, he shook my hand, and he kissed me. And I thought, I froze. I thought it was very, very strange. So can you imagine me, who's used to people, who kiss on both cheeks, I felt a little bit uncomfortable. Can you imagine someone who doesn't do that at all, how they might feel?
Your first experience is going to be...
Yes.
That would be a toe curler, so to speak.
And I also mentioned about the Haitian household. It is polite to salute the inhabitants of the house. I did say that. And I also mentioned the fact that it is customary to leave your shoes outside the home or remove them when you enter the home. Here is what I would like to mention as well. As we, the population, human beings, we move from one place to another, cultures are changing. Because I am not from an Asian country, and I do not like when people come to my home and you keep your shoes. Actually, I will tell you, please remove your shoes when you enter. Because for me, I believe do not bring what is outside inside. And that's why it is important for me to not have any shoes that comes from the outside. Where did that come from? It could be that it is the same in my culture. I don't know. But because we move so much, human beings, cultures now are very, what's the word I'm looking for?
There's a lot of blending.
Similar, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Similar. So yes, we need to pay attention to that. That's for sure. When communicating with anyone, it is important to know that connection is the desired result. In cross-cultural communication, doing research to understand, observing without judging, paying attention to nonverbal cues are necessary to connect adequately.
Do you think just adequately is there? I mean, to have that solid connection, to really bury it in rock, you need to do these things.
Absolutely.
To have an adequate connection, I think you just need to show up.
Well, for me, adequately means this is the proper way to do connection with anybody. Not only with people from different cultures, but with anybody. But it is even more important that people who do not look like you, sound like you, what else can I add? That you are very mindful of how your communication will take place.
Yes.
This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Sean, for participating with me on this cross-cultural communication. I hope that you have had a wonderful time. I would like to not only thank you, but also thank our audience. Would you like to add a little bit more?
Guerdah, thank you very much for having me along on this wonderful little trip about cross-cultural communication. I've learned a lot, and I know there's a lot more to learn. So I'm going to look forward to more of these. Thank you.
Thank you. And for our audience, please, there will be we have not only tips, but there are certain things that we would like you to take notice of. There are certain things that we have put together in terms of books, and then so maybe for you to view later on so that you know a little bit more about this cross-cultural communications. Until next time.
Until next time, everyone. Bye for now.